What if you can't be as good as somebody else because you aren't talented? What if you're not the best in your circle because you lack the talent? What if I told you talent couldn't matter any less? Welcome back, folks. Today I want to discuss with you why it is that talent really doesn't matter, and it's consistency that should replace talent. Now forgive me, I've got my notes just off screen here, so you'll see me looking back and forth down the camera so I can kind of try and keep on track with you. But I've heard so many times before that, oh, so-and-so is such a talented shot. They've got so much talent in shooting. And the thing is I've never really met anyone who was a talented shot. I've met excellent shots, make no mistake. I've met people who were phenomenal shots, but it wasn't because talent, it was because of their consistency and their practice. And I've heard people say, well, I'll never be able to shoot as good as them. I'm not as talented as they are. Guys, talent has absolutely nothing to do with it. This isn't America's Got Talent. This is marksmanship. And marksmanship requires consistency and practice. And not only practice, but quality practice. Never met someone who came from the womb as a world-class shot. Now, some people pick up on shooting quicker or faster than other people, but just because you picked up on it quicker or you started sooner, I started shooting when I was 6 with BB guns, and at the age 10, I got a .22 rifle. So I got an early start on shooting a lot earlier than many other people, and that's why, for some time, for my age, when shooting with people my age, yeah, I might have been a little better than they were because I had more time doing it, but I also had more practice doing it, because I don't care if you've been shooting for 10, 15, 25 years. If you haven't been putting in good quality practice, you've been wasting 10, 15, 25 years. And that's really all it is. I'll take someone who's been practicing for a year straight over someone who grew up around guns but never really put in the practice time or effort to learn. I'll take that guy who's been practicing a year every single time. We all began clueless with no skill. We all started the same place. It doesn't matter. It's your practice, your consistency, your quality of practice that truly separates you. Now, some years ago, my mom had approached me, and she had seen the state of the world, the state of the nation, the state of things going on around us, and she had decided that she wanted to get her concealed carry. I said, well, I think that's a great idea, except there was one problem. At the time, my mom could not hit the broadside of a barn with a handgun if she was standing in the middle of the barn. So we had to do some practice. Where did we start? Well, we started with dry fire. We took her out to the garage and unloaded her handgun, left all the ammunition in the house, so we were perfectly safe out in the garage, pointed in the safe direction. Even if a round had made its way in there, it wouldn't have done nothing but go through a wall and into a field. And we started working on dry fire, started working on grips, started working on stance, started working on trigger control, started working on breathing. And I would have her get into her stance, get a good grip on the pistol, come up, get her sight picture, come in, hit her natural respiratory pause, squeeze the trigger. And we did that for maybe an hour or two, not incredibly long, but more than 15 minutes. And we did that for probably, 3, 4, 5 times. And then we went to the range with live fire. And she started with a 9mm, which was perfectly fine. She's perfectly capable of controlling a 9mm. But she had to get over the recoil shock. She was used to pulling a trigger and nothing happening. So when she did start pulling a trigger, she got a little bit of a flinch and a little bit of a jump. And we got that worked out after she realized, hey, nothing bad's going to happen to me when I pull this trigger. So after 2 or 3 range sessions, she felt confident enough to take her class, and I knew the guy teaching her class, and he said, don't worry, if she needs help, I'll give her some pointers on the line. Everything will be just fine. So she had a good instructor. She had spent the time with me, And most important, she had the practice and the confidence to get the job done. Now, when the day finally came, she passed with flying colors. I don't know that she was a top shot in the class, but there was zero chance of her failing. She kept everything within the 8 ring. I think they were using B-25 bowls. I forget what distance, but she kept everything in the 8 ring, and she did just fine, got her concealed carry, and she feels confident shooting. And still, every once in a while, I'll take her out and we'll work on those skills, kind of knock the dust off of them, polish her up a little bit, and she's ready to rock and roll. She's good, her handgun good, and everything works out. Now, I want to preface this, excuse me for adjusting the computer. I want to preface this. I'm not a certified instructor. I don't have any instructor training. When I say I'm teaching or instructing people, all I'm doing is passing on my years of knowledge and experience and the knowledge and experience that I've gained from others from their years. That's all I'm doing. I'm regurgitating things that either I've heard or I'm passing along things that I've picked up on or learned. I am not a certified instructor. But about maybe 2 years ago, my close friend Garrett approached me and he said, "Hey, I want to learn to shoot handguns. I don't really shoot a lot of handguns." Well, Garrett and I had been shooting long guns together for years. We'd shot rifle competitions together. We'd shot trap. We'd hunted with upland bird guns. So Garrett was no stranger to shooting by any stretch of the imagination, but handguns were nearly a foreign concept to him. So I did the same thing. I went upstairs and I believe I had gotten my Gen 2 Glock 17 and we did some dry fire practice with it and did that for probably 2 weeks or so until both of us had enough time where we could go to a range on a good day where it wasn't going to be too packed. At the time we were shooting at a public range. And after that week or two of dry fire and 2 or 3 sessions on the range, I mean, when he started, he was struggling to keep shots on a silhouette at 15 yards. And after a few weeks, he could keep every shot on a 1/3 torso at 25 yards. It doesn't take a ton of work. It just takes practice and consistency. It's not hard. It's actually rather simple. You just have to be willing to put in that time and effort to do it. And if you're willing to do that, that's the biggest part of the game right there. The work itself is not hard. You don't have to do that much to become a good shooter. Just put in the time, the consistency, and put in good quality repetition and effort. As he had gone on, he decided that he wanted to learn how to reload. So I brought him right down to where you see behind me, and I started teaching him how to reload. I asked him, I said, "Well, what do you want to reload for?" I said, "You're more than welcome to reload for my projects, but I think it would be more meaningful and you would get more out of it if you had a project." And he said, "Oh, I got a Model 29 Smith & Wesson. I'd like to reload some 44 Magnum." I said, "Great." So we got the components to load 44 Magnum, and I started teaching him how to load. What didn't take too long after loading his own ammo, he's like, "Well, I didn't load it to not shoot it." So he took it out and shot it, and then he's also a big hunter. He was a bigger hunter than me for a long time. He still is a bigger hunter than me. And he said, "I want to do something that I can hunt deer with." And eventually I had him confident where he could take 30, 40-yard shots with a 44 Magnum handgun, single action. You know, some people call it cheating, but if it gets the job done, it gets the job done. And he was confident enough to go out into the woods and hunt with his 44 Magnum. Now, unfortunately, this year he did not get a deer with his 44 Magnum. He did get a sizable 10-point buck with a 50 caliber muzzle loader, but didn't get anything with his handgun. So we'll try that again next year. But the point is, he had the confidence and the skill to pull it off. It wasn't a false sense of confidence. He truly had taken these shots and he knew he could pull it off. In my own practice, I've been able to track my improvement, and this has been over a number of years. And I've always seen the greatest jumps in improvement when I'm really consistent and I'm doing my dry fire, I'm doing my live fire, I'm taking my 22s out to the range, I'm shooting with my 9s, my 38s, 357s, my 30-30s, whatever it be. I'm always seeing the best improvement when I'm utilizing that practice time and I'm utilizing it well. Those are when I tend to see my big jumps. Excuse me, folks. So that being said, how do you do good quality practice? It's easy for me to just tell you, go do good practice. But if you don't know what that is, it's not very easy for you. So I'm going to give you some tips, some things that I've done along the way that hopefully will help you out in your practice. The first one is pick a gun and stick with it. Don't pick 5 guns and say, I want to learn to shoot all 5 of these well. You can learn to shoot 5 guns well in due time. But when you're starting out, pick one gun and stick with it. I don't care if you pick a rifle, a shotgun, a handgun. I don't care what you pick, but pick one and really master that before you try and go on to something else. If you're trying to learn bolt action rifles and revolvers and shotguns and muzzleloaders, you're getting yourself too worked up. You need to really nail down on one platform first. The second thing you should do, and if you're a frequent viewer of the channel, this is no surprise to you, master the fundamentals. You guys hear me say this stuff all the time. In every video, I am harping on the fundamentals, and there's a reason for it. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I do want to drive this point home. The fundamentals are key. The fundamentals, the ones that you need to have down pat, are stance, grip, sight alignment and sight picture, breathing control, trigger control, and follow through. Those are the ones that you need to have down pat, ready to roll, pull them off at any given time. If I say stand on the line and work, and then I give you a beep, you should be able to hit all those and be just fine. I'm not saying with a timer, throw the timer in the trash while you're starting out. You got no business trying to time yourself while you're still trying to learn the fundamentals. Timers are for people who mastered the fundamentals a long, long time ago. The third thing you should do is learn how to analyze your shots on target and see, all right, I'm hitting low and left. Either am I flinching my trigger? Am I looking at my sights wrong? Is my gun off 0? Do I need to re-zero my gun? These are all valid things that you need to work out, and I unfortunately can't tell you which one it is. Now, I've hit on this before. If you're shooting a foot low and left, I'm going to give you a pointer. It's probably not your sights. It's probably your trigger flinch, and that's okay. We're not here to shame anybody, but you do need to learn from that, and you do need to get better and improve on that. Work through it with dry fire. Dry fire is free as long as you're doing it in guns that are safe and designed for it. If you decide to do it in something really old that's not designed for it, hey, that's on you for the repair bill. But most modern guns are perfectly safe to do that with. If you just follow those 3 things, picking a gun and stick to it, mastering the fundamentals, and analyzing your shots and learning from them, you will improve by leaps and bounds. You will surpass your friends. You will feel confident. You will have everything nailed down just phenomenal. That doesn't mean you're not going to miss. We all miss. I miss all the time. And I've been shooting for years. There's people who've been shooting for decades longer than I have. Guess what? They still miss too. We all miss at one point or another. But know why you hit. Know why you missed. And if you master those things, you are going to see incredible, incredible improvement. Well, folks, that's all I got for you today. If you've got some different fundamentals that you use, or you've got tips that'll help new shooters learn how to master those fundamentals, hey, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. But until next time, this is Chuck with Practical Marksmanship Reloaded.